It's Ash from Super Videos back for another video. This is going to be my episode review and discussion for Season 7, Episode 16 of The Walking Dead, the Season 7 finale, which was called The First Day of the Rest of Your Life. So overall, I actually really enjoyed this episode. It had action, twists, and it was very emotional. I really enjoyed it. Now, I already know this episode review is going to be very long, so let's get right into this. I have a few nitpicks I have with the episode, but I'm gonna go through those when I talk about the major plot points of the episode. So let's go through this. So the intro started with Sasha with the headphones, and basically we saw her pass out. Now, when I first saw that, I was very confused because even when we came back after the commercials, we saw the same image, but she was in way better shape. So I was really confused what was going on there. But later on, when we put the pieces of the puzzle together, it actually was very cool the way they did it, and they planted little seeds here and there, which I really enjoyed. And for those of you who missed it, that was actually the exact scene Sasha died. So the intro was when Sasha died. Then afterwards, it was more like flashback scenes rather than current time. So that was very cool. And then we have the flashbacks from Sasha, the sequences with Abraham, which I really freaking enjoyed. I thought it was amazing. I think it was great for Michael Cutlitz to come back and shoot those scenes. And I found it to be way better than just a regular flashback, because it wasn't a regular flashback. It was something that kind of tied things together, because it was like a flashback of the morning of the first lineup scene from 6/16. So if you go back and watch season 6 episode 16 again, you can see that these flashback scenes with Abraham were pretty much before that episode. So the morning of the Negan kill. It's cool how everything kind of circled back to that moment, and I actually really enjoyed what they did. I thought it was pretty cool. And of course there were some other flashback scenes slash dream sequences with Maggie and Sasha sitting in front of this sunset. Now, I don't know if they were aiming to make that look like the episode back in season 5, right before they met Aaron for the first time. If you remember, at that time, Maggie had just lost Beth and Sasha had just lost either Tyrese or Bob. I think it was Tyrese. So I think this flashback slash dream sequence with Maggie and Sasha was supposed to be from there. So they were basically recreating that scene. So I really like that. Now, a few nitpicks I have with the flashbacks. One, even though I really enjoyed the flashbacks and how it tied to the finale of season 6 and also the flashbacks with Maggie and Sasha, I thought they were drawn out a bit too much. At some points, I think they needed to be a bit shorter. They were way too long for this episode. Even though it was an extended episode, I feel like the flashbacks were a tiny bit longer than they needed to be. And also the editing with the flashbacks was very weird, because at some point we had the flashbacks with Maggie and Sasha, and then it jumped right back into current time. So it was confusing a little bit, and it kind of took you out of the moment a bit. So the editing was definitely problematic for this episode. But other than that, I actually did enjoy the flashbacks. Backtracking a little bit, we have Negan bringing food for Sasha on a platter, and they have this conversation. Now, I want to say a few things about that conversation. Now, this wasn't all in that particular moment, but I'm just putting everything together here and talking about their entire conversation in that cell. So, one, it was pretty cool how we saw Sasha and Negan interact. That interaction was very cool. I actually really enjoyed that. And I thought that it definitely added to both Negan and Sasha's development, because I think for Sasha, it was at that point when Negan says someone has to be punished, and Sasha is basically trying to make Negan agree to there only being one death. It was at that moment where Sasha basically sealed her fate. She basically figured out there was no way around it and that she had to die. And that's basically what she was doing. When she said one person can die, she was talking about herself. She is the only one that can die. Now, it was very cool because it shows us that she actually does care about everybody. Because if you look back at the flashback, when she was talking about Maggie can take care of Maggie, we saw that that's not really how she feels. Even though she said that in the heat of the moment at that time, in the flashback, that's not really how she feels. She truly cares about everybody, and I really like that. And also from Negan's perspective, it showed that he can be reasonable, that even though he is brutal and he is a villain, he can be reasonable. So that was very cool, and I really like that. Going from there, we go back to Alexandria, and we basically pick up from Dwight's conversation with Rick. So Rick basically says, why are you doing this? Dwight says, I'm doing this because I want Negan dead. And I really enjoyed that specific scene. Going from there, we have Tara talking to Dwight about Denise. I actually did say something about this in one of my previous videos, so I was waiting for it, but I didn't think it would happen that early in the episode. I thought it would be probably season 8, but that conversation happened pretty quickly in the episode, so I really like that. And we have Dwight saying, I wasn't aiming for her, which triggers Daryl, and he just puts the knife to Dwight's eye. Now, a couple of things here. I really liked how it took every part of Daryl not to kill Dwight. And I liked how Dwight was trying to make Daryl believe that he's actually telling the truth and he can be trusted. But at the same time, Tara was annoying because she kept saying, do it, do it. It was out of character for her. She was the one that didn't want to go to Oceanside because she didn't want to break her deal, her promise, and all of a sudden she's just cold-hearted and saying, kill him, do it, do it. I understand that Denise was her girlfriend and everything, but it was just a bit out of character for her to just be that cold-hearted within one day. So that was a bit weird, but other than that, the conversation between Dwight and Daryl I actually really enjoyed. Now I really like that Dwight was giving Rick intel, so it just shows how important Dwight can be going forward with the war. So I really like that. Now, afterwards, when Dwight is leaving, I loved the conversation between Rick and Daryl, where they talk about whether he's telling the truth or not, and then Daryl says, after this is done, I don't give a damn if he's sorry, I'm gonna kill that son of a bitch. I really enjoyed that. I thought that it was in character for him, and also it just shows how much he hates Dwight's guts. So that was pretty cool to see. Very excited to see what happens between those two after the war, if they both make it. Then we have the little conversation between Enid, Jesus, and Maggie about Maggie leading the Hilltop to Alexandria. Now, in my opinion, that wasn't just them talking about that particular moment. I think that was basically Jesus giving or allowing Maggie to take leadership at Hilltop. So that was very important for Maggie's storyline and for her development. So that was cool. Then we have the Kingdomers kind of marching towards Alexandria. We have the little pep talk between Ezekiel and Morgan, which was very cool. It was a very nice speech. But then we see them march to Alexandria. We have badass Carol, badass Morgan, badass Ezekiel, and of course the tiger, Shiva. So that was very cool to see, and immediately when I saw them marching towards Alexandria, I knew the war was on. So I was very excited for them to get there. And of course, we saw that they got there just in time to save the day, which was very cool. We have the scavengers coming to Alexandria, which was very cool. I like that specific scene between Rick, Jadis, and Michonne, where Jadis is like, is he yours? And can I lay with him after? So I thought that was a cool comedic moment in the heat of the moment, where we're like waiting for something to happen, to explode, and then there's these funny scenes. Speaking of funny scenes, there was a specific funny line from Abraham when he was talking about why he doesn't like beaches. So I thought that was very cool, and it made me miss Abraham. That was very cool. But going back to the scavengers, we have Rick slowly backing up, so that was very cool to see. We see the survivors setting the bomb. Now, I did speculate that they were gonna do that, so I was right there, which is very cool. Now, we have the roadblock, which is basically Dwight putting the roadblocks to slow them down, as he said when he was talking to Rick, so that Rick and the others have enough time to prepare for Negan. So that was very cool, and it was also a throwback to 616 when the Saviors were setting roadblocks for the survivors. So that was cool. Then we have Negan and the Saviors coming in. We have Eugene on the radio. Now that exact moment when Rick says, where's Negan? And Eugene says, I'm Negan. I just was pissed off at Eugene. I still am. I think that he's gonna have to do a lot to redeem himself now, because you just don't do that. Like, at the Sanctuary, I understand, but if you're saying you're Negan in front of Rick, you have no place at Alexandria, in my mind. Now, you're gonna have to redeem yourself, definitely, and it's gonna take a lot more than just saying I'm sorry for you to redeem yourself. So, yeah. So then we have Rosita and Rick eyeballing each other and agreeing that Eugenie's gotta go as well. We don't care if Eugenie's there, we're gonna trigger the bomb. So that was cool, but then the bomb malfunctions, which I'm pretty sure was on Jadis. So I think Scavengers and Jadis did something to the bomb to make it malfunction so that the bomb wouldn't go off, because of course we do know that they were with Negan. So then that's when we get the reveal that Scavengers were in fact the spies or the little birdies. Now, even though I liked that twist, I feel like if they didn't have the scene with Negan saying a little birdie told me in the previous episode, we would be more surprised, because this way we kind of thought about it and there wasn't really a lot of people who were candidates, so we kind of knew it was them. So the surprise effect was lower than it would have been if we went in blindly, not knowing that there was anything going on with them. But I actually really liked the twist, and I gotta say, I never trusted the Scavengers from the beginning. They're weird, they talk funny, and they're just weird people. So I didn't trust them initially anyway, so yeah. But then we have the scene where we see Sasha taking the pill, so that was very cool to see. But then we have Negan opening the casket and Sasha jumps out. Now I like the way they edited that, where we don't immediately see Sasha's dead when he opens the door, but then through a flashback we find out that Sasha is in fact dead. So that was cool. But then we have Sasha tackling Negan, which was amazing. I really liked that. I hoped that Sasha would bite someone at Alexandria, just like the comics, but I guess that didn't happen. Now, I blame Fear the Walking Dead for that. I definitely do. I think because they did something like that scene in Fear the Walking Dead, they couldn't do it on The Walking Dead. So that's why I blame Fear. I don't care what people say, I blame Fear for that. But then of course we have Sasha biting one of the saviors. I really like that. I was rooting for Sasha. I was like, bite someone else, bite someone else. So that was very cool. Then we have the little scene between Jadis and Rick, where Rick says, let's make another deal, and then Jadis just shoots Rick. And it was at that point that I wanted Jadis dead. Not that I didn't want her to die before, but she just gotta go now. After shooting Rick like that, she just gotta go. And then of course she tops that with pushing Rick over the tower, which is not the first time she's done that. So yeah, she's gotta go. I hope she dies in season 8. I'm pretty sure she will. But then we have the part where we see that Michonne is attacked, which is exactly like Andrea being attacked in the comics. So that was very cool. I really liked that. I knew it was coming, but still, it was pretty cool to see. Now, I did have a problem with how it played out, because with the way they edited it, we never saw Michonne getting beat that much. We did see a bit of that, but not too much. So it felt like they were either shying away from the gore, or they had to cut it because of time. But it was just weird, because they were just fighting, and then the next shot we have Michonne being beat, and she was just bleeding everywhere, and she had a black eye and everything. So it would have been better if they maybe had a few more shots showing that transition where she goes from just looking normal to getting beat like that. But that's a little nitpick. Now we have the second lineup. Now I knew the second Negan lineup was coming up, so there wasn't any surprise there, but I was surprised that there was only Carl and Rick in that lineup. Now I actually like that way better than what they did in the comics, because in the TV show, they didn't really need more people in that lineup. With the way they had that conversation between Negan and Rick, I thought they did that pretty nicely. I really like that. Now, that specific scene with Rick saying, you can do it right in front of me, you can take my arm, but I'm gonna kill you. I already said, not today, not tomorrow, I'm gonna kill you. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was amazing performance by Andrew Lincoln, and I think that it definitely showed us how confident Rick is now, and that he may break a little bit if Carl dies, but that's gonna add to him wanting to kill Negan and retaliate. So I really liked that. I thought that the way he performed that scene was very cool. Now, that is actually cool because it parallels how broken he was in the premiere. In the premiere, when Negan almost made Rick cut Carl's arm off, we saw how broken he was. Now, that performance was Rick at his lowest, and this performance was Rick at his highest. So those parallels were very great, and I really liked Andrew Lincoln's performance. I thought it was pretty amazing. But then, right when Negan is about to smash Carl in the head with Lucille, we have Shiva the Tiger jumping in to save the day. Now, that has got to be one of my favorite moments from The Walking Dead. There's been a lot of cool moments, but I think that's gotta be up there in the top 10 list of my favorite Walking Dead moments. Now, I see a lot of people saying why Shiva didn't attack Negan. Even though that seems like it is the case that Shiva could have really attacked Negan at that time, if you look back, you see that Kingdomers and Shiva come around the corner, and at that angle that they come in, that savior that Shiva attacked was the first person the Tiger saw. But I agree with people saying how Shiva knew who to attack, who not to attack. I definitely agree. There's no realistic reason why the Tiger would know. So for that, this specific scene and other scenes with Shiva attacking were a bit unrealistic. Other than that, I really liked it. And the CGI was freaking epic. I really liked it. I didn't see any problem with the CGI, so that was great. And at the same time, we have Maggie and the Hilltoppers also coming to save the day. Maggie leading them, which is amazing, pretty cool. Then we have the scavengers running away like babies. So, like they said, they take, they don't bother. So when it was too difficult, they bounced. So it was cool to see that they may go with the flow and they may be smart, they're not strong, they're pretty weak. So yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see what Negan would do with them, because of course they bounced and they left Negan hanging. So would Negan have a problem with that? It's gonna be interesting to see if he's gonna have a problem with that. But then of course after, we have the saviors running away as well. We have Negan rolling in with the truck with his middle finger out, and he's flipping everyone off. Now that's another part where I have a slight problem with. That many bullets coming at you and your hand is out, most of your body is basically exposed and you don't get shot. That's plot armor right there. I don't think realistically Negan could survive that. So that's something that I have a bit of a problem with. And also, they could have shot the tires. Why didn't they shoot the tires? So for that specific scene also, it was a bit unrealistic. And at the end of the day, it was cool to see, and it was a cool moment when he was flipping everyone off, but it was unrealistic. But then we have the part where Negan gives the speech to the saviors. Now, I wanted to see Negan's speech from the comics, but I understand that they can't do that language on the show. Now, I wonder if they did that scene and they're gonna put it on the Blu-ray. That would be very cool if they do that. But Negan basically just simply says, "We're going to war," which I really liked. And we actually, at that point, we get to see how many men the saviors really have. From what I saw, it looked like they had about 100 people right there, and this was just their main base. They have many outposts as well. So going forward, the survivors are gonna have a very hard time defeating the saviors, because of course now the scavengers are with the saviors as well. I don't know how much Negan can actually trust them, but I'm very interested to see how all that war plays out when the scavengers are on Negan's side now. Then we have Maggie putting Sasha down, which was very emotional. I really liked that. Now, I wanted someone else to put her down, but I can see why Maggie would, because they were close. And with the flashbacks of those two together, it kind of made sense. But I thought it would have been better if someone more closer to Sasha would do that. But I guess there's really no one else left that's closer to Sasha than Maggie. So I take back what I just said. It was cool, but I really liked how Jesus didn't kill Sasha. He kind of held her down so Maggie would do that. So I really like that. Then we have the reveal that Dwight didn't actually know about the scavengers being on Negan's side and being the little birdies or the spies, because of course Daryl finds that statue that said didn't know. So that's kind of confirmation that Dwight didn't actually know. So that was cool. Also, we kind of knew that he didn't know anyway, because he held his end of the bargain and put the roadblocks there. So that means that he didn't really know because he did some of the stuff he said he was gonna do anyway. There was really no reason for him to lie. So yeah, and then we have the Maggie narration at the end, which was epic. I really liked that. I think that speech or narration did two things. One, it made us see Maggie in a different light, and two, it brought back Glenn, and it kind of made the end about Glenn. So the beginning of the episode, it was more or less about Abraham, and by the end, it was about Glenn. So it was like a tribute to the two people we lost in the premiere. So that was pretty amazing. And then of course, the episode ends on the pocket watch, which was very cool, and that could looked at as a hopeful moment for the future. So that was pretty cool. Now there's one thing I forgot to mention with Negan. He had like a couple of very cool funny lines here and there, but there was two that I really wanted to mention because I really liked it. One was when he said, universe gives you signs and then you stick up your middle finger up its ass. So I thought that was very cool of Negan to say. It's something that Negan would say in the comics, definitely. And it just gave me Negan from the comic vibes, so that was cool. The second one was when he said, Rick, you suck ass. So that was very cool as well. So I really like that. Now that's basically it for my review. This review is very long, so I'm just gonna end it very quick. So the episode rating. For the rating, I'm gonna give this episode a high mid-grade rating. I thought it was pretty amazing. There was a lot of cool comic moments. There was a lot of cool twists here and there. And it was just very cool all around. I did have a few nitpicks with it, a few problems, but at the end of the day, it was a solid episode. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll be back for another video.